Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm your host, Preston M. Smith. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm Preston M. Smith, at PMS Artwork everywhere on internet land and socials. I want to thank you for landing on this podcast. Whether you're a professional artist, just getting started in the art world, a collector of art, or just consider yourself a creative person, this podcast has something for you. I like to think of it as a fun way to rant and talk to other creative people about living the life of an artist, surviving and getting ahead in the art world, and enjoying your life. But most importantly, not waiting until you're dead to make it happen. All right, let's get started. All right. Just as I'm hitting record, I heard something go by there, just as we were talking about it.
Yeah, it's a car, yeah.
How are you doing, Theodosia?
I'm okay. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. So we know each other from Shockbox, and you also were a juror on one of the shows, which thank you for coming and doing that, by the way. Did you have a good time doing that?
Yes, I did. You're talking about the show, which show specifically? The Powerhouse.
The one that we did where you were a juror. And we
yes, of course. Go figure. Yes, sorry, excuse me, my memory. Yes, I really enjoyed it. I've never been from the juror. I've never been actually as a juror in a contest like that. So it was definitely a very interesting experience to see how it feels from the other side.
Yeah, definitely.
And how you judge really the work coming in. So he gave a different perspective how it is for the judges really to see how it is to accept or not accept, and what it goes and what it doesn't go. And I was actually quite surprised to see that, and that was probably a point also for me I saw work that perhaps sometimes people just don't really consider what they're sending is not really applicable to the call. So that was a good point taken for my case as well. So yeah,
I think it is. Yeah, not only do you get to see from their perspective, but you almost get a chance to see from a different angle as an artist perspective. Like, in the past I've done stuff like that too, where I'm just like, oh, you know what, this piece could work. But then when you see it from the jury's perspective, you're like, oh, why are they wasting my time with something that could work?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that was interesting. But where are you in LA? Where are you based out of?
I live in Echo Park.
Oh, okay, nice.
So yeah, I love this area. I've moved here with my husband from London about nearly 8 years ago.
Okay.
And this is the area that we fell in love immediately. It was a bit different. It was a bit different when we first moved here. It was less gentrified, but we still like it. It still has its amenities, and we have quite a few friends around. So our circle is around this side of town.
Yeah. I think everything in LA eventually becomes gentrified, right?
Yeah.
If it's cool, if it's nice, like for me, it was Culver City. When I first came here, I landed down south and I was just looking for a place. I had no place picked out. So I was frantically looking. And the moment I got to Culver City, I was like, this is it. This is my spot. And
that's how it felt with Echo Park for us as well. We just felt that it was familiar. Also because when you used to live in London, we used to live in a part of town that kind of like reminded us we felt more comfortable. So
that's cool.
Yeah,
it was a nice little gateway in. So we're going to talk about that. I want to talk about your origin story, but first of all, I wanted to ask you how you're doing right now with I keep calling it the virus, which will not be named, but the pandemic. How have you been doing? How's it been affecting your life, your work? Maybe it hasn't. I don't know.
No, it has. It certainly has. I mean, thankfully, we're all still very healthy. It has affected from the point of view. Okay, practically, I have a son, a 2.5-year-old son. Mm-hmm. So his schedule has been affected. So there is actually no one there's no daycare. He has no friends around. So I've gone back into looking after him full time. So that has kind of affected quite a lot, actually, my work.
Oh yeah.
But balance has been restored again. So it's taken a few months to find the balance. Psychologically, that this whole seclusion and lockdown has been pretty difficult, really.
Yeah.
I love seeing people. I love hanging out with people. And it's really it's feeding me. It's just, I really need to have that around me. So the first few months, it was really difficult not just being able to see my friends. It's not the same connection you can have through a Zoom call. It's just, I don't find it's exactly it's the same.
Yeah.
So that kind of like reflected on my work. So I want to be darker than I'm used to. So I started developing this series, which is pretty much complete. I still keep on adding things. It's called Cyclone.
Is it Cyclone? Yeah. Cyclones,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, Cyclone. Yeah, just one cyclone.
Oh, okay. Singular.
One main one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of like threw myself into that. It's kind of different from the stuff that I've been working, that I've worked in the past, which is much more detailed. I just wanted to be much more minimalist, much laid out bare there.
I love it. Can I say something real quick? I've been looking at your series online, and Cyclone's one of my favorites.
It's very simple. It's pretty different.
It's simple, but it's beautiful. I love the hair. Like you have all these kind of like tangled hair that kind of lead you through it. And maybe I'm not remembering correctly, but I seem to remember not seeing many faces in this series at all.
No, the face is most of the face actually on purpose covered, because I actually want to sort of like express this feeling of seclusion and fear and
That's
anguish.
What I was wondering.
There are some faces. So two diptychs that I've done when I first started the idea, they have some faces, and I think it's, to me at least, I don't know to other ones, I think to me there is an expression of fear and anger and all these kind of like wonderful emotions. But no, the ones that is fairly complete and I've kind of like developed at the moment, it's just pretty much the faces are covered, and it's just the body. It's just the body movements and the expressions and the legs and the hands. It just makes you feel whatever it is, that the subject wants to feel.
Well, and it's kind of like earthy tones and kind of muted tones, but there are little splashes of color that I like in the backgrounds, almost like a solid kind of a background. You do a lot of cool work with like negative space. I was looking at some of your older stuff with like just the black and white figures. They almost look like kind of puzzle pieces put together.
Yeah.
I really love those pieces. They're great.
I know, and I really miss doing that. It's just like, so when I first, so just to give you a bit of a background, I started completely working on abstract work like many, many years ago. But there was always this soft spot that I had for figurative work. And then I went into that. So my black and white figures was my kind of like, my first going into the figurative art. I have a really, really soft spot for this type of art, the black and white. And,
I love it.
And I think at some point I will go back into it, especially for the charcoal series that I love doing. It is very, very time consuming. It's very, very messy. So one of the actually reasons that I haven't actually had a chance to go back into it, because it just takes long time and it just takes a lot of space, and I just, since the birth of my son, things have kind of like changed. So, but it is actually in the plan to go back. I'm sorry, there's a big truck going past.
Oh, okay, no problem. Yeah, we'll work with it. This is like, I think anybody who's listening, we all realize that it's a pandemic and we're going to have some crazy sounds going on from home. This is not, we're not like in a studio right now. So I'm loving the birds. I'm loving the garden noises, but the truck was kind of muted actually on my end. So I think we're doing okay.
That's good. That's good.
So but it's cool that you're like revisiting. I do the same thing. It's interesting. We kind of flipped. Like I was a very much figurative painter for 12, 13, 14 years. Like pop surrealism, kind of dark stuff. And then I just had this calling to do really bright, textured abstract stuff. So, but every once in a while I get that kind of itch to go back. And it sounds like you're having a kind of a similar thing.
Yeah. And the thing is that all the series I've developed, like all throughout my painting process, I don't feel I've actually given up on any of them. So it's not that I've given up on working on the black and white or the charcoal. It's just that I've put a pause, and then I just felt the need that I wanted to develop and just explore different sides of the work. And I think as an artist, it's important to actually just keep on experimenting and just like finding what works for you. And then this changes. Like I don't know many artists that just stayed put in one thing. I think it's important to carry on developing your style.
I agree.
Then you never know. Well, you might find something else, or you might just have to go back to what you were doing because that worked better and that made you feel more comfortable. I mean, that's the way I see it.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's why we become artists, right? Is to
Yeah.
not have these restrictions and to explore. That's one of the things I talk about the most is, it seems like it's kind of on the other end where you have these restrictions put on you. Like they want you to develop a style, a signature style, and then they want you to keep doing that same style. But really, I mean, we should just be doing whatever we want. Like we should be doing whatever speaks to us.
I'm with you on that, and I agree it's important. I do think that it's important to actually for an artist to have his style. For example, you have your style. You have a very individual style for your abstract work, and I believe I have a style as well. It's important to have a style, to develop a style, but carrying on doing the same style for your entire career. No, I think it just doesn't speak to. I don't think it should speak to an artist. I think we should be developing it, and we should experimenting with new stuff. For sure.
It's stifling because you can kind of tell if somebody's been doing it for too long and they've lost their verve, a little bit. It's like it shows in the work. It kind of gets a little, I want the energy to always be there in the work. And for you, I mean, everything I'm seeing from you is there's a lot of vibrant energy going on. Like you have this kind of, it's almost like when I was looking at it, I was trying to describe it in my brain, and you might completely disagree with this, but I was like, it's very primal, and it's almost like, if a certain era of Picasso met Where the Wild Things Are. That's how I saw it in my brain. You're like, I completely disagree.
That's an amazing compliment. I'm very humbled.
No, really. That's what I saw. I mean, it kind of like if you took some of the characters from Guernica or whatever, and you mixed it with the kind of the playful, primal energy of some of these, Where the Wild Things Are illustrations. That's kind of what it spoke to me as.
I was really excited at the point when I was actually developing my style or developing my figurative kind of like word, like language. When it made sense to me, okay, these are my figures, these are my people, and then I just felt much more comfortable. Started telling the story or whatever the story that I wanted to say at the time. That was a very aha moment for me, I have to say. And but yeah, I mean, if I'm sure I think you probably looked through my website. So I'm into like developing different series, and each series is when I start and I have the idea, I get really excited, and then I start working on the idea, and then it can. I'm sure you saw that kind of like difference. So for the domestic animals was all taking place in a house. It was very colorful, kind of playful. On the other hand, the World of Others is all just grayscale, and it just has a much more like dark, and it's just much more complicated.
Yeah, those are the ones that kind of reminded me a little bit of like a Guernica type style.
Yeah.
But your series, when I looked in your website at first, I was like, oh, she's highlighting just a couple pieces. But then I was like, oh, no, these are series. And then when I started scrolling through everything, I loved it. It was like, one theme, but with all these different iterations. And that I love that you do that, because it's almost like you have an infatuation with one kind of theme, and then you can just play with all the different, and
then I just find that the one theme that I have, they kind of like almost kind of like subconsciously just merges into another one for the next series, or perhaps doesn't. Like the Cyclone, for example, that I worked since the beginning of the lockdown, is just, I just purposely wanted to be totally minimal. I didn't want to highlight much faces, but then again, elements from the previous series subconsciously have merged into that as well. I mean, you can't help it. It just changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you find that you just kind of do what you explored until you're done, or do you feel like a pressure to kind of keep going with the series? Or do you just like naturally let it come to a close?
I naturally let it come to a close.
Nice.
Never pressure myself. I have to do this so many pieces. I have to do I just let it come to a close naturally. Yeah, I'm all about no pressure. I don't pressure myself in it, because if you just put pressure on yourself, you have to do this, or you have to close, or you have to copy that style. No, it's just, for me, it doesn't work. I don't know.
It's horrible. And like I said, it goes against what there's so much pressure in the real world outside. It's like, why would we pressure ourselves in our studio too?
Yeah, and I think people actually look up to artists and their work, and if they want to follow and they like what we do. I think, as you said, if there is pressure on the artist, I think that comes through the work.
It does.
I think that's pretty visible.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about first of all, I don't know if I said, do you pronounce your last name Marchant?
Yeah, Marchant. Yeah.
Marchant. So it's Theodosia Marchant. If anybody wants to check out her work, which you should, it's amazing. You can see that at, maybe you should tell them where your Instagram handle and your website.
Yeah, it's theodosiamarchant.com.
Yes. And then Theodosia, it's _ Marchant.
Underscore Marchant, yeah. On
For
IG.
Instagram, right? Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so I wanted to ask you about your origin story a little bit, because I didn't see much of a bio, but I know a little bit about you. And from what I could kind of piece together, you were born in Athens, Greece, right? And then you moved to London?
And then I moved to London to study. And,
well, so fill us in the gap, first of all. Like, so how long were you in Athens?
I was in Athens up to 17 years old.
Wow.
Then, so I grew up, finished school. As soon as I finished school, I left. And then moved to London, and then I went to law school.
That's what I saw, yeah.
How crazy.
You have a bachelor's and a master's, right?
Yeah, I did a bachelor and a master's in law, and I worked as a lawyer for years.
In London?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I started in a law firm, and then I moved in-house, which basically means I work for a company. Mm-hmm. It was, I'm not going to lie, I kind of like enjoyed the intellectual side of it for a number of years. It was the challenging, it's an interesting field, but I think probably at some point I just got burned out. I don't know, I was just working too much, I just wasn't enjoying it, and then...
do you mind telling us what kind of law you practiced?
I did corporate law.
Corporate law. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I just wanted out. My husband wanted out. We wanted something new. We wanted to change our lives. We were not really happy. We had, from the outside, our lives were like, we lived a cool life, central London, going out, doing all these kind of like things that younger people do at that stage. Right. But we were both burned out. We just wanted something else. We wanted to be something else, do something more with our lives. Mm-hmm. So the opportunity came, and he was offered to actually come over to US and open the first wine business for the company he was working in London. Cool. And we just grabbed the opportunity, like, yep, that's it, we're going. So when this idea came to table, I just thought, that's it, I'm down slow. I need to actually go back into doing something that I really want to do.
So you use that as like an opportunity to make a clean break almost.
Exactly.
Nice.
Exactly. So how does the painting come into the picture? So I used to paint.
Yeah, that was my question. I'm just going to sit back and let you ask my questions for me too.
So the painting was I was just kind of painting for myself. Like, actually very few people knew that I was painting.
Wait, for how long was it? Were you painting when you were also practicing law?
No, I wasn't actually painting in like sort of like large piece, but I was just like, I was very much involved in the arts, like going to shows, going to talks and things like that, and just doing my own little work back at the house. But I just never, ever thought that this would be possible, that I would ever be doing this on a full-time basis. Yeah. So the thing is that, so as I said, we came to LA, and I was like, okay, so I was just trying to figure out myself. I was totally burned out from London, work-wise. Completely burned out. So I was going through the process of just like trying to get myself out of so what do you want in life? Thankfully, my husband, he's a very cool guy. He's like, take as long as you want, just find out what you want to do and I'll support you. I'll help you out. I'll be here. So he gave me this time. Nice. And then I just started painting. I went back, and just slowly, and then I went crazy. I went really full back into it. And then I'm like, that's it. I'm giving
sorry, but Theodosia, were you working from home? Did you?
I was working from home, and I was just doing. I didn't even think that I would have a studio. I thought it's just a hobby. I'm just starting a hobby now. Right. I'm just going back into a hobby. But then one thing led to another, and then I met some people that kind of like opened doors for me, kind of helped me, and that gave me a very boost my confidence, and then.
Can I ask for people listening, for maybe some young artists who are trying to kind of come up, how did you meet these people? Was this just organically through your circles?
Yeah, very organically. And also I have to say that I did sign up with the LA Art Association.
Yes,
and
I did that too.
Yeah, and they were very, my experience, they were very supportive and very helpful, and they gave me feedback on the work, which it was really constructive and helped me. Mm-hmm. But also I did receive some praise, which I never actually, I've never shown my work to anyone. So actually hearing someone, your work has so-and-so element, and we like this aspect was just a massive boost. And we all need that. We all need to hear.
Yeah, we need validation at some point, yeah.
Yeah. So that's where it started. And then I started doing shows, started joining shows, and then that's it. And it just took off, and it's just, I'm not looking back. I mean, that's it. This is my life.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I mean,
so when did you join LAA?
I joined LA, I think probably in 2015, if I remember right.
Okay.
And I think I probably had my first show with them. I might be right. It might be 2016. I don't remember. We came over here to LA with my husband around March 2013.
Okay.
So I think I signed up with them either 2015 or 2016. So I had my first show 2016.
I saw that you did Out There.
Yeah.
I also did Out There.
Yes, I like actually. I like joining that. I like that I've joined that.
I feel like you and I probably crossed paths because I think I was part of LAA in 2016. So we probably crossed paths. I think I did Out There the same year you did, maybe. Possibly. Isn't that weird how you can just kind of, bump elbows with people and then not know them at all?
Yeah, and this thing has actually happened to me quite a lot while I'm in LA. I've just crossed paths many times with many people, and I'm just then bumped into them and actually become friends.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, because the first time I actually saw you in Shockbox, because I'd heard Mike talk about you, and we'll get into all that too. But I heard Mike talk about you, and I'd seen a little bit of your work, and I think you and I both had our solo shows at the same time, right?
Yes.
So we couldn't come see each other
the same day. No, it was the same day.
Yeah, the plan was to come over after the show stopped at Shockbox, but I was, as you know, setting up your solo show and doing all the talking. I was so beat. I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to make it over there. But
I know it was the other side of town as well. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's like, oh, that'd be great because that would mean that we're all able to go out and see people. But
yeah.
But yeah, so sorry I missed your show. But
oh no,
I'm sure. Yeah, no problem. I'm sure we'll get a chance to do that in the future. But it's awesome because sometimes it's not that way. A lot of people go up through school, they study art, they really kind of jump into it and try to go through all the right channels. But I love your origin story because it's kind of like, here you are, you had a pretty successful, I would say successful law degree. And it's a law practice in London, and you guys were doing pretty well, like what most people would think, maybe living the good life, and you were not satisfied. And then you came over here and you made a clean break and you started exploring art for yourself. And then it just kind of blossomed from there. And I think that's amazing. It's so much more organic that way.
Yeah, it did actually happen this way. Yeah, totally self-taught, no degrees, no art degree. I don't know whether it's actually a bad or a good thing, but I don't know.
It is what it is. I think some people do well with an art degree, and other people don't. I think a lot of people who have an art degree end up teaching, which is fine. I kind of had an art degree. I was kind of a double major with theater and art, but I never once looked at it like, oh, I'm gonna teach. I came down here to explore my creative side, and then just blossomed from there. But how did you meet Mike? So people probably know that, Mike's the gallery owner of Shockbox.
Yeah. So Mike, I met him, he had a call, Shockbox had a call out, I think it was in 2017. And I applied to that and he accepted my work. So yeah, that's how I got to know him.
Do you remember the show?
I think it was, hold on, let me just actually remember the name. I think it was Off With Their Heads.
Oh yeah.
Which I have to appreciate his sense of humor because we share similar sense of humor, kind of like dark, not taking ourselves too seriously sometimes. Yeah, and I saw this like, oh, okay, interesting. Okay, fine.
That's so funny because I think that was one of their first shows. And Mike and I were talking at LAA. I think it was for Out There actually. And he was talking about the show he was going to have. And I said, oh, I have this perfect piece for it. I had this really dark piece that I did back in the day of this naked woman holding my severed head in a, in a forest. But he was like, I don't know if we're quite ready for that yet. So I held off till the next show. But anyway, well, that's cool. And then how did you get into the program?
He liked me. He liked my work, and he's like, "Do you want to be a program artist?" I'm like, "Yes, of course, I'd love to." The relationship with Shockbox with Mike has been amazing. He's very supportive. He puts up with my delays. It's like, and my postponements and everything. Like, I mean, how many times have I changed this with you? No, I'm joking.
This, yeah. No, this was perfect.
Yeah. He's been very supportive, and I know he really believes in me. And I like that he has that they have these spots in Hermosa Beach. I think it's good. I mean, it's more and more and more. It's becoming this really, really important little place.
It is.
And he's making a change. They're making a change. And I like how he's approaching the artist. He's there. I feel he's there for the artist. I can actually call Mike and ask him. I feel I can ask him like, "Oh, can we do this?" An idea, and I think I know he will listen, and he's not necessarily going to be like, from a gallery perspective. Like, he's going to be like, "Oh yes, of course, yeah. Let me think about it. Yeah, let's do this. Yeah, that's great. Yeah." So I like
because he also has an artist perspective too.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think it actually changes the view on things. So yeah, it's also a vibe. We just have a good vibe. We just work nice together. We just, we communicate well, and I like that. Yeah, I never want to miss my relationship with Shogbus. I think it's a great relationship to have with a gallery. And
I agree.
With them. Yeah.
I always saw it as such a great place to be a part of because, first of all, I love Mike. I love the atmosphere in Hermosa, and he's got this great combination of he's got drive, obviously, right? But he also is very laid back.
Yeah.
And he's hands-on at the same time. I don't know how he balances that, but
I don't know how he balances it either.
Way.
Like with his day practice and also doing all that with the gallery, I really don't know how he does it. And I hate myself for complaining sometimes that I have my hands full with my son and painting and everything. But he also he has a lot. Yeah,
he does. He's taken on a lot, but I never hear him complain. So that's really kind of.
Well, that's the thing is if you find something that you really enjoy doing, it's really hard to complain. Yeah.
I know. I agree. For me, it was one of those things where I also worked a job that I don't know if you hated your law job, but I hated my job, and I purposely did it for many years so I would have the motivation to quit and do hard. It just took me a lot longer than I thought, But so now when I find myself at all, ever, just even if it's minuscule complaints, I just go, you know what? You could still be waiting tables. You could still be hating your life. So I always have a lot of gratitude for what I'm doing,
Exactly. Same. Yeah. Exactly the same. Yeah.
That's cool. So I wanted to talk, I mean, we're not going to get into anything super personal because it's not that kind of a podcast, but how has it been balancing raising your boy? How has it been like balancing that and your kind of burgeoning art career? Just the creative process and also just, getting your work out there.
Well, it's not easy, but to be honest with you, I always say that, well, Theo, it was your choice. So,
right.
You chose it, so stop complaining. But anyway, going back to it, he's so I mean it's not very easy. So I've done countless long nights. I can't even count them. It's like he goes to bed and then pretty much my day starts. Especially it kind of helped the process when he started daycare. And honestly, the only reason I sent him to daycare, it was not so much because I wanted him out of my feet. He's lovely. He was my choice. But I wanted him to be around kids. So
sure.
So that was the main thing.
Well, I think there's a practicality to it too, right?
Yeah, it's a practicality. Of course, it made also my painting process much easier. I had more time for myself during the day.
Yeah.
But before the good thing is now he's at the process. He understands and he talks, and it's like I have this little buddy.
Oh, that's cool.
So if I explain to him like, okay, so I'm doing this, it takes a few takes for him to actually leave me alone. But, just have to remain very calm and just explain, okay, mommy's doing this now and I have to do this. And then you go and play with your truck. And then with him, my days is very stop, start.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. He's a happy little boy. He's healthy. He's very sociable. I don't really have anything to complain. So I know that I'm trying to take in and enjoy as much as I can this process of him being at this stage, because they're just so happy about everything that they discover. And I know that fairly soon he's going to preschool and school, and that's it. They're gone,
right.
after that.
Yeah. Then they're on the fast track.
yeah, and he's already 2.5. So I'm enjoying it, taking in the good moments of what we have now. And then my work is here. I can find ways to do my work. I'll do it nighttime after he goes to bed. I do bits throughout the day. I miss the daycare days. I'm not gonna lie, because I used to do more during the day.
Yeah.
But then again, it's fine. It is what it is.
And I think that's what everybody's kind of going through right now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we just have to adjust. We just have to adjust to what we have. Yeah.
Well, I met your son, and he's an adorable little boy, and he seemed very well behaved, at least at the gallery. So
he's been trained very well for that. He's been to more shows than most people I know have been to.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, his first show was when he was about 2 months. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is that I don't know whether it seems funny to me. I don't know whether it's going to sound funny to other people, but we seem to actually share the same taste.
Oh, nice.
So he appreciates the same things that I like, or he just copies my reactions and he just mirrors them. I don't know. Probably most likely that.
Oh, that's hilarious.
He's a great person to take, and I hope I miss the gallery days and just taking him to shows and showing him things. And
well, it's got to be cool seeing things through his eyes too, like seeing the art for the first time through his eyes.
Yeah, and they do notice. Kids do really, really notice.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I remember when he was very little and he was just looking at the art, and when I used to take him to my studio, well, he pretty much grew up in my studio when he was very little, and he was just looking really intensely at the figures and smiling. I was like, why is he smiling? that is not funny.
Yeah.
But clearly he's been seeing things, and I don't know what he's thinking with his little brain, but
right.
I'm sure it was fun and interesting.
We're gonna find out, Theodosia. We're gonna find out.
Yeah.
Are you unleashing another artist onto the world, or what do you think? Do you think he's gonna have?
Okay, I don't want to sound bad. Okay, because usually moms really like to praise their kids.
Yeah.
But pragmatically, I think he's pretty good. He's very good with combination of colors. So he's very much to abstract.
Nice.
And his abstract works. Yeah, I've showed them to to a few friends. They're like, "How old is your son?" I'm like, "Oh, he was 2 at the time." Like 2. I was like, "This is crazy." My daughter just does one line.
Oh, and wow!
No, he uses different colors, and they're pretty complicated, his abstract work. But I don't know. It might be just face. It might just be in the face, just scratching. I don't know. No idea.
Well, he's absorbing what he's seeing from you.
I think so. Yeah, I think kids just copy their parents. Like I've copied seen my parents what they're doing, so I think he's just copying. But no, I'm not gonna pressure him in any, or just influence him on purpose on any direction. I think he has to be his own man and his own person. Just choose what he wants to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, see what he does. I'm curious, actually.
That's cool. My wife and I are getting close. I've talked about this for a while, and I'm sure for her, she's like, "You've been saying that for years." But we are getting close, and I'm trying to picture myself with kids. So it's interesting to hear you talk about it. And for me, it's starting to sound more and more fun. Like I know it's going to be very difficult, and that's probably the reason why I've held off for so long, because I wanted to make sure that I was able to take care of myself. I was able to pay the bills. I was able to have some time to develop body work.
Yes, absolutely. And I was in the same boat as well. I just wanted to make sure that I am well. And
right, exactly.
All the picture, the entire picture, before I bring someone in the world. Yeah,
yes.
Of course. Yeah.
But I know it sounds kind of obvious, but not a lot of people do that. You know what I mean?
I don't know. It was just totally obvious for me. And actually, for a long, long time with my husband, we didn't actually want any kids at all. We were just happy with the lifestyle that we had. No, we were totally against it. So when we told my friends that we were having a baby, they were totally shocked. They're like, you having a baby? They were just so proud of us. They're like, you're just so sticking to your guns that you don't want any. But now all of a sudden, what happened? But I think.
So was it like an overnight thing? Did you wake up one morning and go, all of a sudden I want a child?
Yeah, you know what? I think actually this biological clock is actually true. It actually does exist. Yeah. So I think I got hit by that.
You know what? It does. It actually exists, I think, for guys too. Not quite as powerfully, but I think guys do reach a certain age too where they're like, you know what? Maybe it's time to stop focusing on myself.
Yeah. But you know what? The interesting thing, and I think actually I don't think that life ends when you have a child. And actually, when I was pregnant, I had a few people that made me upset, saying, "Oh, forget it. You have a child now. You're gonna forget it. We'll see you in 10 years."
Right.
that made me even more determined to
Yes.
like, no, I'm here. I'm staying here. Having a baby does not change my life.
Oh, I'm going to be the same way. I think my wife will be too. Like, I want it to be a thing where it's kind of it's an adventure, but it doesn't
It's
like,
exactly.
you know,
That's exactly how we saw it. He's part of our adventure. He's part of our life. He's a little person,
right.
but our life carries on. Life moves on. But we're just gonna have the little person with us. He's gonna be with us as well, and he's gonna grow. And we're gonna teach him stuff. We're gonna take him out and show him things. But no, life shouldn't stop. Life should carry on.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, it's cool to hear you
Mm.
say that. So thanks for sharing that with us. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, like, I don't know if you've listened to any of the podcasts before, but I talk about the origin story, and then I kind of talk about like a superpower that you have as an artist. Because I know a lot of artists, whatever, they suffer from blocks or depression or something is keeping them from getting in the studio and creating. Is there something that you do to kind of get you motivated, or do you just kind of wait to create until you feel inspired?
No, I just push myself. I just push myself and start doing stuff. I just find that if I if I just take my time to wait for the inspiration to come, it's just never going to come. I mean, no, I exaggerate, but I just think that it's really important. Even if you just go in the studio and just like, I don't know, draw a line, one line or a circle, something like that, it's really important. Oh, just be surrounded by your paints and your canvases and just look at them. I mean, I spent many days, I'm not gonna lie, just going in my studio and just like not feeling, it just wasn't coming. It's just nothing was coming. But I was just looking at my paintings, and then I would just probably be reading a book, or I would just be like looking at other people's works and just like noting down. I take countless notes when I'm in this process. So it can be a word, or it can be a color that I saw. I'm like, oh, I really like this color, this type of color. Or I really like this word. And from that word, then you can just like build a story. You can like, things can start flooding in. But I think it's really important to push yourself, to go into your space, to have a space like that. Push yourself, stay there for as long as you have to, and just like see especially if you want to be a full-time artist, and you have to rely on that.
I was kind of setting you up with this question because you answered it perfectly, because I take a real problem with when people say, oh, I just wait for the muse to strike. Because it's like, if you're going to be a full-time artist, you could be waiting around forever. You know what I mean? So I do the same thing. Like, I'll come in the studio, and if I'm not ready to work, sometimes it's like muscle memory. I'll get the body moving. I'll just start working. And then all of a sudden you got like one stroke on there, and it leads to something else. And then you get an idea, and then it sparks, and then you're in the moment. But if you don't kind of actively get yourself moving, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. And no, and the things that if you want to be a full-time artist, it's just, you just have to do it. You have to push yourself. There needs to be a certain level of discipline. You need to be disciplined actually doing that. And I know that most people think of artists as very free-spirited, but seriously, if you really have to do it, if you want to do it seriously, you have to be very disciplined in doing that.
Oh, I love it. Preach on, Theodosia.
Yeah.
No, I love it, because you get some pushback from people with this, but when it's a career, when you're doing it as a professional artist, it's a job. I mean, it's a job too. You gotta be able to perform. And I'm not saying that means it takes all the life out of your work. It doesn't.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
No, because, it doesn't at all.
In my work, I mean, I never do something just to please anyone. Like, for example, when I do commissions, I rarely take, I don't know whether it's actually bad or a good thing, that one. I rarely really take any specific instructions. Like, so they look at my work and they're like, oh, I really like this series, or I really like your black and white, and then that's it. And then I just develop my own story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we need to be, we need to actually be that environment in order to be able to, create something.
I agree. And when I talk to people who do commissions, or who, they approach me to do a commission, like I just finished one recently, and I'm about to mail it out tomorrow, actually. But I always tell people thank you. Yeah. But I tell people pretty much to kind of like not have too many preconceived notions. I will take some notes, but I'll say, look, that's great. Now, as long as you're open to me kind of taking that idea and running with it, and you trust my style, then, we'll be on the same page. Yeah.
Same. I just find it way too restricting for my brain motion to actually have way too many instructions, and it just doesn't work. I can't do it.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a good little segue, because, well, first of all, I think we're at the cutoff period. So let me just stop this for 1 sec.
Okay.
All right, we're back.
Okay.
So thanks for still being here.
Oh, thank you for
Never
having me.
know if you're gonna bail on the second part.
We'll see.
Theodosia went to the store. Let's see. Oh, so we were talking about commissions and you're not waiting for inspiration to strike, but kind of developing a practice a little bit. On the flip side of that, I always ask if you have any kind of failures that you've had. This doesn't have to be in the art world, by the way. It can be in life. Maybe it was with law. You're practicing law. But did you have a failure or a biggest failure? And if so, what did you learn from it?
Let me think. Well, I mean, I won't actually name, I don't really sort of call situations or times in my life when I'm not very happy about certain things as failures, because I always take them as experiences. And I think I always view them as experiences, bad or good or whatever, and then just try to learn out of them. And I know it sounds like very cliche what I'm saying, but
No, not at all.
for some reason, it's just that I don't feel I have any sort of negative windows in my life when I feel, okay, this was really bad. You shouldn't have done that. And, this is just disaster. Why did you do that? No, I feel that I've learned through it and I just moved over and then just tried not to do it again. Now, I'm not trying to avoid by naming a specific one, but I'm just saying that we all have this phase in life that we're not happy and we're doing wrong stuff. But
yes,
there's just nothing really comes to my mind because I kind of sort of categorize it. Okay, that was a lesson. You learn from that. Move on. I just move on. I move on.
Yes. No, I think that's good. I think that shows that you're kind of a balanced, well-adjusted human being. You know what I mean? It's horrible to go through. You're like, I hope so. I mean, I had a lot period in my life where I made a lot of mistakes, and at the same time, I think I handled them well coming out of it, and now I realize how they made me who I am. And even some of the stuff I just wasn't very conscious at the time. It was almost like it wasn't really me. And now I learned from it. Now I'm a much more conscious human being. So it was almost essential to my growth.
Yeah, I think everything is essential. Yeah, I think things like that, as long as we learn something out of them, I think they are essential for our growth. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. Well, I won't push you on it. I was like, tell us something horrible that your husband did.
You wanted me to name a specific one.
No.
To be honest with you.
No, I liked your answer.
Yeah, I don't have something specific come to my brain now because, as I've said, I've kind of placed everything, whatever has gone through my life, it's just placed them in the boxes that they had to be placed, and I feel that I've learned from them. So I don't retrace them really because I think they're gone. I think they're erased in a way.
Yes.
Because I haven't repeated the same mistakes, that's for sure. So that's how I know that I've dealt with whatever failure took place or, things like that.
I think that's good. I think some people would say, for example, I know a lot of people who have kind of taken the wrong path in life. Let's say you felt a lot of pressure from your family to become a lawyer, and then you go through law school, maybe you come out of it with a lot of debt, you get in, you find out that you hate it. And then some people would see that as a failure, but it sounds like you actually enjoyed that period of your life.
Well, actually, going back to law, I mean, to give you just a better perspective, I didn't want to become a lawyer. I didn't want to go to law school. But
didn't?
No, really. But I was really keen in...
There he is.
Yeah, you heard him. He's probably looking at me.
He's like, where's Mama? Sorry, keep going.
I'll trace her. The thing is, I was really keen in moving out of where I was, and I just wanted to experience the world and I was young, I was just carefree, and I just wanted to do something fun, and I wanted to go and study in London, but I just hadn't really thought about what do you want to study. It was all so rushed.
Right.
I think it was just I finished school, and there's this pressure in kids, and this is one of the things that I definitely not going to apply to my son. This is pressure that you're in school and that you have to know what you want for the rest of your life, and then you have to go and study immediately.
Like you could possibly know that at that age.
I mean, how can you possibly do that? But my parents were very much like, all right, you need to know what you're going to study. And I'm like, no, I don't. I want to do this. They're like, you can't do this. You have to do this. And it's so there was this fight in a way. So I'm like, right, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Where are you going? I went to London. So it was an interesting experience actually studying. But then I'll be honest with you, when I got in the field and I started working, it is a very intellectually challenging field, and it was fun. I enjoyed it. I met... It's just nice being in that kind of... I kind of enjoyed the first few years, but then after I figured out completely that, okay, fine, yeah, this is actually what it is, I just stopped enjoying it. It just didn't work for me anymore. For some people it does, and it's great for them. For me, it just stopped working and it just didn't make me feel happy anymore. I
you
felt
kind of plateaued a little bit.
Yeah, I did. And I thought I was just doing the same. So I was going around in a circle and just doing repeat, like start, repeat, and it just didn't work. Mentally, really, really affected me. Actually, we have some pictures. My husband says that I was really completely different person back in the day, much more serious about stuff, much more negative about things. And this whole new life that I have over here and doing what I really, really love just makes me completely different. It's just like a rebirth. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Awesome.
And I hope more people get a chance to actually experience that. It's a great feeling, definitely great feeling.
Yeah, well, that's awesome to hear. And I feel like a lot of people, it sucks because not unlike, the pressure you get from your parents. Like I got pressure from my parents too. I was doing a lot of stuff that were artsy. Like I was like, I'm going to be a stand-up comedian. I'm going to be a musician. I'm going to be an actor. I'm going to be and my dad was like, you can't be all those things. You need to focus on something. And they were supportive, but at the same time, I think kids feel that pressure to really figure out what they're going to do. And this is what you're going to do for the rest of your life. Like, cause that's what used to happen back in the day. If you're in the 50s, you had a career and that was your career,
and then you had a family.
Yeah,
and you had a family really soon. Yeah,
exactly. But now I think so many people change their jobs 3, 4, 5 times in their lifetime. But also it's just nice to hear you say that because hopefully somebody listening will, kind of be like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I want to pursue this. And I think you're a great testament.
Yeah, it has its sacrifices. I mean, it's
sure.
not, it has a sacrifice. I mean, the sacrifices are obvious. I mean, but I think if you really, it's just a cliche what I'm going to say, and it sounds very cliche, but the thing is that if you really, really want to do something and be good at it, you just have to really stay put and just do it.
Well, and another cliche is life is short, right?
And life is short, exactly. Life is very, very short.
Yeah.
So you just have to go out there and just try. And if it doesn't work, I mean, it's sad.
Yeah.
I didn't want. I really, really wanted this to happen, and I just put everything into it.
But also, you don't want to have regrets, right? And at least if you do it and you fail, it's like, well, I tried that. I did that. I got that out of my system. Maybe you find out you didn't really want to do it. But for you, almost like what I was saying with me sometimes on this podcast is you didn't do it in a haphazard way. Like you had a career. You probably had some money. You probably had some money saved up. Your husband probably had a little bit of money too. So you were able to kind of, whereas some people burning the boats and just jumping into it would be like jumping off a cliff, right?
I think if you just go into it without actually having any sort of security, yes, it's very risky.
Yeah.
But the thing is that the way it actually works with me is that the reason I tried so much to make it work because the plan and the idea and the agreement that I had with with my husband is that I'm carrying on doing this, but I'm not going to start burning through what we have. It has to also make sense in a way. If you want to be a full-time artist and you have to, be that person, it's also, as you said, a job. It's not just...
Exactly.
So it has to also make sense. So I tried really, really hard also because it had to make also sense that I can actually support myself.
Yes.
That it can't be something that is, there has to be a balance.
Yes. Well, you went into it with your eyes open, it sounds like.
Totally. I was older and I just knew that I wanted to do it, but it also had to make sense and to give me something back, for me to be able to carry on doing it. Now, for someone that actually doesn't have any, I mean, I have to actually say that my husband has actually been an extremely big support, but honestly, mostly psychologically, because I had no support from anyone else. Like my family, for example, they're like, "What are you doing? You're crazy.
Right?
You've lost it. You've gone to Los Angeles." And it's like, "What are you doing?" So,
well, that's hard on your psyche, right?
Oh, totally, absolutely. It's really important to actually have someone supporting you. But he was there, and even from the simplest, stupidest things that I used to do, he was like, "Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that's excellent. That's amazing." He's been my best. He's a very educated man. He has a good eye for things like that, for art, and he was my worst and my best critic. If a good critic came out of him, I'm like, oh, okay, that's actually really, really good. He just doesn't want to tell me. But yeah, I mean, I can see when I show him something, like, what do you think about this? I'm not just thinking something, and he's like, no, that's not going to work for you. This is not you. And he's really, he knows me because he's seen me developing, and he's seen how it's been. So he knows me. He can read what I'm saying and what I'm trying to do, and he's been there. It's really helpful having someone
That's
like
so
that.
important. Yeah.
Which
Well, I found the same thing with my wife.
Your wife as well, right? Yeah. Exactly.
Well, for a while, I kind of felt like part of the reason why I had a little bit of self-destructive behavior was for maybe a decade, it was kind of me against the world. You know what I mean? It was just like me beating my head up against the wall and looking for outside validation. And it was good for me at the same time because I actually learned a lot and I developed a body of work, but I think it also did some damage to me because it's harmful on your psyche. And when I finally got to the point where I was starting to, get a little bit more comfortable with who I was and I found my wife, it was like, okay, now I have the missing ingredient.
Yeah.
So that's really nice. No, and also, it goes back to what we were saying a little bit about validation. Every artist needs some validation at some point, and maybe that's as simple as just somebody saying, "I believe in you." Keep doing what you do.
I did actually felt the need of validation very much when I was first starting. I kept on asking, "Well, what do you think?" And it's like asking for like opinions and things like that. I don't do anything, to be honest, because I think that I've just kind of like made up my mind that it is what it is. It's not that I'm full of myself and I feel very confident in what I'm doing, but I just feel that it is what it is. This is me. If someone doesn't like me, they don't like me. Fine, I'm fine with that.
But you've earned that at this point.
Well, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that. Yeah, I know what you mean, but I don't want to say that very because it might sound a bit pompous. But
oh no, I don't mean like that. I mean like you've kind of cut your teeth in the art world at this point. Like you kind of have. Now if something is good or not, and you don't really need as much outside validation. Yes. Yeah. I don't mean like pompously, like I'm the best.
Exactly. I know it all. From that point of view, yeah. I mean, I've been to a few shows. I've seen how things work, and I see what works for me now, and I just feel happy. I go into my happy place when I do my things. So. No, I rarely ask anyone what do you think about my work. Perhaps I should start doing it a bit more. I don't know. It might actually provide some positive, some more feedback. I don't know. I just enjoy it now.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of echo that. I mean, I've gotten to a point where I kind of developed a system that works for me. Yeah. And sometimes I feel like if I were to kind of seek out too much validation at this point or join a kind of a harsh critique group or something, I think it would almost derail me because right now I thrive so much on like my own mindset and my positive mindset momentum that I have going. So I just don't want to be derailed.
Yeah, that's one of the things why I never join any critique groups.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel they can help me in any way. Like I just go through my own process. I've just developed as you said, my own process of actually processing things and what I want to do. And as I told you, it's like my kind of like inspirational thing is like I see a word and I'll take note of that, or I'll see a color, or I'll see a tree. I mean, sometimes when I take my son for walks in the morning, I see something like I really like. Oh, I go back and I sketch it immediately because I don't want to forget that image because that image says something to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, critique groups. I don't know.
I think they're good at a certain period, right? Wouldn't you say, in your development?
Yeah,
or they can be.
They can be, yeah. But I don't know. I don't know how it would work for different people. I don't want to sort of like generalize because for some people they just like also having the connection and just being with other people and just hearing, oh, how do you find my latest kind of like input about so and so. So some people need this connection.
Sure. Sometimes they need a little bit of guidance, or they just need somebody to kind of point out something that they didn't see, and that's completely fine. Yeah. But I do kind of. I don't like to overgeneralize either, but I do kind of agree. It doesn't seem to serve its purpose as much for me, at least at this point.
Yeah, same. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So you said something about walks. I'm kind of fascinated by this because I know I've read a lot of stuff. I've listened to a lot of audiobooks, and, they're always saying how, some of the best minds and creators and scientists throughout history have always developed ideas taking walks. I get the same thing when I walk or when I run. I always get a lot of, or when I meditate. It's kind of like when you're doing something semi-physical and you're getting in touch with your breath and you're quieting your brain, these ideas come out. So do you do that every day?
Yes. Yes, every day. It's a morning. It's a morning ritual. Actually, because we did our we're going to do our call today. I missed it, but I'm going to do it after our call. I'm going to take him out.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
walking with pushing him. He doesn't walk that far. But okay, so pushing
So you
Oshin.
get some upper body strength there too.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. That's been developed a lot. No, it's a lot. It's my time, and I get all of my ideas. So if I'm going through an idea, and or if I'm working on a painting, that's the time that actually everything it's just naturally just comes into place, and I think okay. Or I just like rehearse things in my brain about things that I've read or things that I've thought or what I want to say about something. It's a really, really, really important time of day for me. It's just a time that actually I make my decision. Okay, so then I go back and then I'm like, okay, I know that this is what I want to do, and it just brings things together and just give sense to what I was thinking.
Yes.
The other time of the day when I actually have again a lot of clarity is nighttime. Usually when it's very quiet, when everyone's in bed or just doing the thing and they're quiet. I just like quietness because usually I don't have any music when I do work. So quietness is really, really exciting. No, I don't like music. I like just pure quietness.
Oh, interesting.
Nothing. Yeah. I get lots of clarity. And then again, I jot down ideas and just review things and read things. Through reading things, I get quite a lot of clarity on what I want to do.
Yes.
But then again, it's like, Instagram is also another really very powerful tool. I know it's been, I'm not always a big fan of Instagram. I've managed actually I just hate how much time I end up like spending going through Instagram. I just like to put that.
Oh, it's a vacuum, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a vacuum. But then again, it's a very interesting platform where you can actually see other people's work and see what they're developing and see their development. Like there's been several artists which we've been through the same kind of like development path. And now we're both kind of like doing so and so, and I see what they're doing, like work-wise, I mean, and how their styles change. And it's a learning process. For artists, it's a networking platform, but it's also it's a very good learning platform as well.
I completely agree. I think the one thing I would say as like a caveat, because I use Instagram every day too, but I do it in a very structured way because I've noticed, if you go on there with the wrong attitude or if you're in a fragile state, Instagram can be like your worst, your worst enemy. It can be like, oh my God, this person's doing this. This person's got in this show, this person sold this, blah, blah, blah. So if you're going in there, like I always do it after I post my own stuff because I'm like, I'm sharing something and then I feel good about that. And then I go around and look at everybody else's stuff. And it can definitely feed you. But I think if you cross over into that other realm of negativity, it can kind of derail you a bit.
Yeah, I try not to do that. It's like I just see sometimes I don't even go through the feeds. I don't have much time these days. I just usually just go through the stories and just check the stories and, of people that I want to have a look at, or just specifically look for certain artists, which I really like the work. But no, there shouldn't be any negativity. I think it's like, if you're really developing yourself and you are developing your artwork, I think you can learn a lot and you can take a lot from just seeing from their platform. Everything is there. It's actually pretty much a great idea.
Yeah,
I've stopped posting any family stuff on Instagram, so I'm just treating much more for business. Like platform.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I was going to give you a compliment. I love your Instagram feed. It's like very well curated. It's like you highlight specific pieces. They all flow together. You can see a kind of a pattern of development, the series, and then every once in a while you'll put a little kind of profile pic in there just because, people like to see who the artist is too.
Yeah, it took me a long time actually. But someone was like pestering me, but he was a good friend. He's like, you need to put your face. People need to know the artist.
Well, yeah, and it's not like you posed like some women pose like really, in a sexy way. You're just showing yourself and it's like
myself,
it's nice. I think it really works. I've seen a lot of Instagram feeds and yours is very nice. It just flows well.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's see. I had another question for you. So we talked about, failures or not looking at things as failures. We've talked about the superpower. What do you have like any advice now, looking back on it all? What advice would you give to a young Theodosia coming up?
In the art world or in general in life?
It can be in life. It can be in the art world. It could be something that you did through law or whatever, school, or just something that changed your mentality or that would have helped you kind of navigate the world a little better.
Let me think. The advice, the thing is that, I don't know, be more patient, I suppose.
Yeah. No, that's great.
Be more patient with certain aspects of development. Discipline is there. I mean, I'm kind of like, I like the fact that I'm pretty like, I'm super strict on myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I do lose my patience and I probably give up on things faster than I should. But it's better. It's getting better for sure. Like with age, it has actually gone less.
Yeah,
But
you kind of
when
calm down with age, right?
I've kind of like calmed down with it. But I think probably when I was younger, I don't actually recall specifically, but then events, but I probably did lose patience and probably could have followed other paths and just did stuff, which I didn't. So, but if I was going to give sort of an advice, someone asked me, so what would you advise me, say go in the art world, I'll be, number one would be discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Number two would be, well, being consistent, which is actually kind of the same like being disciplined. If you are disciplined, you are consistent as well.
Right, exactly. You're developing a practice.
Yeah, and patient.
Yeah.
And above all, be very, very good and nice to people and just not pretend that you're something higher than anyone else and just be a very nice person. Just being a good person in general in life.
You heard it here first, straight from
probably I should put this first.
We got 4 for 1 there. 4 for the price of 1. I love it. Those are all. This is amazing. You really don't need anything else, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I would definitely relate to patience. I think a lot of people nowadays, especially nowadays, patience is very important because I think more than any other era, with everything being kind of so immediate, and not just with social media, but with everything, people just want to they want it now. They want everything now. They want to be famous now. They want Instagram fame now. And yeah, so if you can cultivate a little patience in your life, it's going to serve you very well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, awesome. Thank you for that. So do you have anything kind of coming up, or a little sub question? Where do you see yourself and your work in like 5 years?
Honestly, I don't really make plans like that. So I know that it's like I've never actually placed myself in 5 years. Mm-hmm. I have to be there. And if you're not there, you're going to be
right. Okay, let's just say any arbitrary. It could just be in general. Like, where do you see your work?
Like my plan. Oh, where I see my work. Carry on working the same passion, mm-hmm. same ideas, and hopefully being able to develop it into greater and bigger paths, whatever that is. Mm-hmm. But just carrying on with the same discipline. And I'm really, really happy that I'm actually doing that parallel with growing up, with raising my son.
Yeah.
I think that's a great experience in life that I have at the moment. I really love this. But just just carry on and just enjoying this. And I'm going to carry on doing it until I really, really enjoy this. I'm not going to pressure myself. If at some point ever in my life I feel this is not speaking to me, then no, I will leave it. But it hasn't actually shown any signs that it's decreasing.
Oh, nice.
So, which is good, and I love it. So
yeah, that's great.
Just carry on working.
Well, that's one of the beauties of like being an artist too, is you can do it for the rest of your life. You know, if you're interested in it, and it can always. It's not like you're an athlete when you peak, at 35. You can do this into your 80s or 90s and still be doing really well. I love it.
Yeah, and I think each decade in your life just brings something else. Like I'm definitely not the same person that I was in my 20s.
Yeah,
I'm much calmer.
Yeah.
And I think each decade gives you something else. And yeah, art develops, and it's in a way it's a little bit like looking at the storybook, the story of your life through art. If you just mm-hmm. carrying on doing it for a long time. Like, as you said, you start from figurative, and you said that you were upset about certain things, and probably that reflects on your work, and then you just
big time
other stuff. So yeah, it's like looking at your storybook in a way.
It's like having a little time capsule for every decade.
Yeah.
It's great. Well, is there anything that you wanted to bring up? Like, is there anything you want to plug? Is there anything you got coming up, or anything that you just want to talk about real quick? I'm feeling pretty good.
This has been amazing.
Awesome.
Just quickly, I'm just going to mention that I'm with the gallery. I'm actually having 2 works with Mash Gallery. So the opening was on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a show open until the 26th of September. It's in the
Wait, what's the gallery again?
Mash Gallery.
Mash, okay.
Yeah. So the name of the show is IFLA, and it's a group show of 22 artists, amazing works. So that's open. So if anyone wants to go and have a look at the work, it's over there. And something else coming. I don't really have anything planned as much. I mean, this whole sort of lockdown has kind of brought everything upside down in a way.
Yeah, it definitely has.
I'm just working quietly on the sidelines and just waiting for this whole thing to blow over. I have some ideas for 2021. 2020, I've kind of written it off, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I know. I think everybody has.
I think everyone has. It's I can't even believe we're in September.
Yeah.
But I nearly had a cry yesterday when I realized it's 1st of September.
Oh my God, I know. We've been doing this for 6 months. Can you believe that?
Yeah, it's
crazy. Yeah.
Also, at least we're patient. At least we're showing patience.
Yeah. Well, it's right. It's almost, in a way, it's kind of forced patience. For people who haven't had it before, it's okay, you're not very good with being present. Well, here's 6 months of isolation. You know what I mean?
I know. It's crazy. Actually, the first time I saw quite a few of my friends was on Saturday. And it just felt bizarre. I guess I can't believe I'm seeing so many people.
It's weird, right?
Yeah, it's
know.
Great.
I listened to Pete Holmes' podcast, and he always talks about watching movies, older movies, and just people being in normal situations. He calls it contact porn. It's just seeing people being able to go out and touch each other and interact.
I can't wait for the day that we're going to be able to actually, kiss each other and say
hi.
That'd be the best feeling ever. I can't wait for that day.
I agree. Well, hopefully it's coming soon. And I look forward to seeing you again in the future. Are you going to come and see, or not come, but are you going to log on and see?
Oh, I can't wait, actually.
Sword Fight. I just forgot the old show.
I've seen the flyer. The flyer is amazing.
Yeah, it's so good.
It made me chuckle. Yeah, it's this is so short books. Yes, I will log in and we'll have a look. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, it's important to note too that this is an answer to the all-female show, which you were a part of, Powerhouse, which that was an amazing show.
I love that. Yeah, the set of everything was amazing with that show.
Yeah, it really was. Okay, cool. Well, if you're feeling good, I'm just going to say one more time. I'll put it in the show notes too, but check out Theodosia's work online at Theodosia_Marchant on Instagram and TheodosiaMarchant.com. Is that correct?
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah, you won't be disappointed. It's great work. Thanks so much for coming on, Theodosia.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed this. It was great.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing you in the future in person.
Thanks. Okay, bye-bye.
All right, bye. This has been the Living Artist Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I just want you to know that I appreciate you being here, and I'm grateful to be in your ears. Your art and creative life on this planet is meaningful, so thank you for sharing it with me. If you like this podcast, whatever platform you're listening to it on, please subscribe and share it with your friends. You can also leave me a positive review to show your support. This helps me to reach more people with the algorithmic magic and keep the show going strong. If you want to see more of what I do and check out the art that I create, you can visit my website at www.pmsartwork.com or follow me on social media everywhere at PMS Artwork. That's it for now. See you back here next time.